Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Buttery Show, where we do movie reviews, vlogs, and all kinds of other things. And we are here for Trapped at Grandma's Month. That's right. It's a month where we just don't have any access to Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon or Disney Channel, and we have no VHS tapes to keep us company. So we just watch whatever is available to us on a Sunday afternoon on CBS, NBC, WB, ABC, KCAL 9, Fox, or UPN. And that's right. And we're discussing four movies that we would have likely have seen in that kind of circumstance. Some of these movies appeared in theaters. Some of them were direct to video. But this one in particular was direct to video. So yeah, there's only one way you could have seen this movie, and that is literally on television or on syndication. I don't think it even had a DVD release, but the film we are here to discuss is the 1993 film A Family Torn Apart, aka Sudden Fury. Have you guys ever seen this film? Have you or is this your first time watching it, or did you just not watch it and just want to hear me talk about a film you've never seen before deciding on whether or not to see? Well, good news is, guys, this movie's available on YouTube, complete in its entirety for free, which is how I watched it. Would I get a VHS or DVD of it? Of course I would. But, DVD stores are a thing of ancient history, so unfortunately, yeah, it's what it is. Yeah, so a little bit about this movie. This movie is a true, more or less a book adaptation, a true crime film. Kind of like a true crime, probably not a genre I'm particularly interested in, but, it fits the theme of the month. So, what is this movie? Well, it's based on a book called Sudden Fury, written by Leslie Walker. And the book in itself is based on a true story. I can't find any evidence of the actual story. I have no idea. Part of the thing is the fact that in the book, a lot of the characters' names were different than they are in the movie. Unfortunately, contrary to my typical due diligence, I could not find myself a copy of the book. I looked at every library I could get my hands on. But one dude on YouTube did make a quick review of the book. It's only a 3-minute review. And I do find out that the characters' names are different. And the younger brother, what's his name? The younger brother, Chris Hannigan, was originally female in the book. So instead of having three brothers, it's two brothers and a sister. But yeah, this film was based on the 1989 nonfiction book, and it aired on NBC in November 21st. So 31st anniversary, I guess. And it features John Galecki and Neil Patrick Harris. Yes, that's right. The guy from How I Met Your Mother and the guy from Big Bang Theory. And I don't know, have you guys ever watched either of these two shows? I'm going to be honest, Big Bang Theory, because of a certain relative who shall remain nameless, I did have to watch the first 4 seasons of Big Bang Theory. And honestly, I'm not particularly a fan of it. I know a lot of people love it. Just could not get into it. I'm sorry. I prefer Futurama, and yeah, John Galecki played Leonard in Big Bang Theory, and his name and his roommate Sheldon Cooper. It's I know that Sheldon was such a popular character. He had a spin-off series called Young Sheldon, but we're not here to play 6 Degrees. I was just not a fan of Big Bang Theory, and I was not a fan of Leonard as a character either. But a lot of the actors from Big Bang Theory did previously appear in Roseanne, which is kind of interesting because not only was Sheldon's mom on Jackie, but also Leonard was David. While I did not care much for Big Bang Theory, I do remember David from Roseanne. He was kind of a jerk. And then he came back and he became an even bigger jerk. Yeah. But you know, rewatching this movie, I'm like, damn, John Galecki can actually act well if given a good script. I'm just super unlucky with my experience with John Galecki outside of this film. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. But yeah, going into John Galecki, he was in a lot of works. In as far as films go, he played Rusty in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, and I can't believe I totally missed that. But they always have a different actor playing Rusty, so like I totally get it. But like, and yeah, Christmas Vacation is probably the one I've seen the least of, but the one I've seen the most of was definitely Euro Vacation. Yeah, the Euro Vacation was probably my favorite film. I've seen it like maybe a couple of times. Maybe even one day we should do National Lampoon's Month. He was also famous in I Know What You Did Last Summer. He was in Bounce, Bookies, Hancock, and he was in the film In Time. And In Time was actually a really fun movie. It was loosely based on Logan's Run, which I'm a fan of. Both Logan's Run, the book, the movie, and In Time. And apparently he was in Dog's Journey. I did not watch Dog's Journey because I saw Dog's Purpose. That movie made me cry, so I did not watch A Dog's Journey. I'm sorry. As far as TV shows go, obviously he was in Rosanna's David. He was in an episode of Batman Beyond, LAX, Hope and Faith, My Boys. He was one of the two main characters from The Big Bang Theory. He played his character in an episode of Family Guy, which is kind of weird. And of course, he came back in both Roseanne reboot as well as The Connors after Roseanne Barr was no longer in the show. And of course, he played himself in Entourage. Who knew? Yeah, so John Galecki, not a lot of movies he was in that, well, not a lot of roles that he was in that I was really into. But I have to say, as far as this movie goes, this was probably his best performance is to my memory. I mean, I've never seen the unaired pilot of Peep Show. Like, I can't believe that there was an unaired pilot for Peep Show. Wait, is this for the British Peep Show? Is this like was he like, or was there an American attempt, an American adaptation? What? I am like freaking out right now because Peep Show is one of my most all-time favorite sitcoms. So it's like, when was John Galecki ever involved in this? Okay, so there was a pilot attempt for American television, and apparently it never came through. But I have to say this. The fact that John Galecki plays Mark, of all characters, that is something I have to think about, because here's the thing. I could see Jim Parson playing Mark, but John Galecki, I see him more as a super hands. That's the weird thing. Like, if I did make an American version of Peep Show with John Galecki, I would have used him as super hands. Now, for those of you who've never seen Peep Show, check it out. It's a British sitcom, 9 seasons. I don't know where you can watch it. It used to be on Netflix. It used to be on Hulu. I don't know where it is right now. It's a great show. Definitely check it out. Worst case scenario, watch it on BritBox. I don't have BritBox, but it's a great sitcom. But damn, John Galecki and Peep Show, that's going to be like running through my head all day. All right. So let me go into, okay, so the other main characters played by Neil Patrick Harris. He's most famous for playing Dougie Hauser, MD, child doctor extraordinaire, and he played himself in the Harold and Kumar series, starting with White Castle. What were some of his other performances he was in? He was in Starship Troopers. He was in Cloud with a Chance of Meatballs for the voice of Steve. He played Nightwing in Under the Red Hood. He was in the Smurfs, Smurfs 2, 8-Bit Christmas, where like he plays the adult version of the main character. He played an antagonist in A Million Ways to Die in the West. Okay, that movie was surprisingly funny. It has no right to be funny, but it got a few chuckles out of me. So, yeah. So he had a number of film roles. He also played Dr. Horrible in the Dr. Horrible musical. It's a web series that featured one of the other actors from Big Bang Theory. I think it was I think it was Howard Wolowitz. Don't remember the actor's name, but I think that was the guy that was in Dr. Horrible musical. But yeah, as far as TV shows go, he was Dougie Hauser. He was in Roseanne playing Dougie Hauser. How did I not see that episode? Apparently they had a crossover. Who would have thought? I swear, if David was in that episode, I'm going to freak the heck out. He was also in The Christmas Wish. He was in an episode of Static Shock as Replay. Wow, he was in Static Shock. I love that show. He was Moyo in Legend of Tarzan. He was in Justice League as Ray Thompson. Spider-Man, the new animated series, as Peter Parker. So he was a DC superhero as well as a Marvel superhero. That's awesome. He played his character Barney from How I Met Your Mother in Family Guy, just like how a certain someone played Leonard. So that's crazy. They both played their own character in Family Guy. Yes, How I Met Your Mother he played a main character for 208 episodes, and he played Barney Stinson, and his performance was allegedly legend. Wait for it, Derry. Unlike Big Bang Theory, I haven't watched that much of How I Met Your Mother. I've only seen a couple of episodes, so I can't really say it's a good show or it's a bad show. I liked it or hated it because I haven't seen enough of it. I have a 6-episode rule, and that rule also involves watching it from the beginning, which is ironic because the first season of Parks and Rec is only 6 episodes, and the first season was not the best. So, that's probably not the best rule to have for certain shows. He hosted many award shows. He was also in Ghost Rider, Eden, Star Wars Visions. He was in How I Met Your Father. Don't even know what it's about. And of course, most recently, he was the toy maker in Doctor Who. And yes, we actually did discuss the Giggle episode in our 60th anniversary discussion of Doctor Who. So you can check that out after you finish watching our discussion of this film. He was also in theater play. He was in Rent, Romeo and Juliet, Sweeney Todd. He was in Rent again, Tick Tick Boom, which is, I think, based on the making of Rent. Wow, he really likes Rent, apparently. I'm not a big Rent fan. That one song I just cannot stand because it's so overplayed when I was in high school. But yeah, he was also in Assassins, Snow White Christmas, and he was in Tick Tick Boom again. And he's written a couple of books too, so that's actually pretty cool. So, but let's focus more on this movie, A Family Torn Apart. So, much like the theme of this month, it's a movie I saw at my grandparents' house when I was staying over, and I didn't have any VHSs, I didn't have any cable. I just watched stuff at random. Can't remember if it was on NBC like it originally aired, or if it was syndicated onto ABC or WB. But I remember I was watching something half an hour before this movie aired at that time, and they showed a trailer to the movie. The trailer looked really cool. It's like, oh, Daniel is such a jerk. Daniel lies about skipping school. He lies about getting to fights. Do you think Daniel killed your parents? I'm like, who's this Daniel guy? And what's all this drama about him? A family torn apart. And of course, it airs right after whatever it was I was watching at the time. So my parents being late to get home, my parents being late to pick me up to take me home, I watched the movie, and my parents were so late that I watched it in its entirety. And I have to give credit to this film. I think unlike any of the other three films, I think this one I actually watched it in its entirety when I first saw it. The fourth film that we're going to be discussing this month, I did watch almost all of it, but I think I may or may not have missed like maybe 15 minutes of the film, somewhere in the middle. But because I probably got picked up midway through the movie, and then once I got home, I quickly changed the channel to finish watching the movie. Because I definitely remember watching the beginning. I definitely remember watching the ending. Or maybe, I saw the movie in its entirety at my grandparents' place, but I had to leave the room for a certain amount of time. Don't remember. But this movie, I watched from beginning to end. And yeah, a 7-year-old watching a true crime film, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. It's crazy. But then again, the same 7-year-old did also watch a movie about a guy named Hard Harry, or Happy Harry Hard On. But like who's to say? It would be another few years before someone would teach me how to play Rummy Cube. So, what I thought about the movie, I thought it was interesting. But I think this is also the movie where I discovered I have the ability to figure out who the villain is as soon as they appear on screen, because it's an ability I have where like whenever I watch a mystery film or like a murder mystery of any kind, whether it's Poirot, Sherlock Holmes, Knives Out, or murder mystery with Adam Sandler, it's like a spidey sense goes off as soon as the actual villain shows up on screen. It's like, that's the villain. That's the villain. That's the villain, guys. And well, basically, you should ask Ryan and Clement what I was like when we went to see the Batman. What a gas. But yeah, no, it's like, I think that was the movie where I found out that I have world's greatest detective powers. The power of intuitive deduction. Knowing who the real villain is without having to watch the entire film in its entirety. All that's left is to put the pieces together. It's not actual deduction. It's actually induction. But somehow my inductive reasoning is actually very accurate. But no, I actually do prefer deduction. I like finding the clues and then using the clues to figure out who the killer is, as opposed to just guessing who the killer is and then finding the clues afterwards that prove that they are the killer. So this movie starts off with a mysterious person carrying an axe to the woods, and then the following morning, the main character, Neil Patrick Harris, who plays Brian Hannigan, and his little brother, Chris Hannigan, are calling the police, telling them that both of their parents were killed. Chris Hannigan is actually played by Eric Lloyd, who was Tim Allen's son in the Santa Claus trilogy. All three movies, he was the son. That's crazy, man. He played Charlie Calvin in all three movies. He also played a younger version of Bruce Wayne in Batman and Robin, as well as Blanky in The Brave Little Toaster. Let's see. What were some of his television roles? He was young Kevin in The Wonder Years. He was in Love and War, The Oz Kids, Jesse. He was in Rocket Power as Josh for one episode. He was in an episode of ER, and of course the new TV series The Santa Claus on Disney Plus, reprising his role as Charlie. He was nominated for several awards, but I'm gonna be honest, I think the only thing I really remember Eric Lloyd from is, in fact, the Santa Claus series. But hey, at least we have more familiar faces here. We have more familiar faces. So yeah, so the two boys are here. So the two boys are sent to the police station. They're being questioned, and we find out that they have another brother who was in a reform school named Daniel Hannigan. And yes, that's where the infamous Daniel shows up. John Galecki, looking very slim, sexy long hair, smoking a cigarette. It's like you could tell this is a bad boy. Like he's in what is practically a prison. He's smoking cigarettes, which as a kid in the 90s, that means you're a bad guy. But I'm like, no, it's too obvious for him to be a bad guy. I'm not feeling it. Like I'm feeling some stuff with Brian, but I'm not feeling those things with Daniel. I think he's just the stereotypical edgy 90s bad boy. 1989 bad boy. So yeah, something that does not feel quite right here. And of course he's sarcastic, confrontational. So it's like they really try to red herring that he's the bad guy here. But the thing is, it's like if you've been through what he's been through, and come on, man, he's in reform school. Like, of course he's going to be confrontational and sarcastic. Like freaking, you only have one pair of shoes, and now you have to get them confiscated for a murder investigation. Of course, like you're going to be confrontational. And of course, this is where all three brothers, they're being protected by a family friend named Tom Kelley, who is an attorney, but he's not their attorney. He just happens to be a family friend. And of course, Tom is played by Gregory Harrison, and he was in a lot of things such as MASH, Angel of Death, Christmas Romance, Au Pair 2, Signed, Sealed, Delivered series. But yeah, he was also in Centennial, Barbara Jones, Family Guy. Sorry, not Family Guy, Family Man as Jack Taylor. He was also in Judging Amy, Miracles, Joey. Yes, that's right. He was in the show Joey featuring Matt LeBlanc. It only had like 6 episodes. Wait, did it have 6 episodes? I'm trying to remember. No, it had 46 episodes. I was thinking about a different show with Matt LeBlanc. My bad. I remember Matt LeBlanc played a different character from Married with Children who had 6 episodes. I'm having those two shows confused. Guess I've never seen Joey. But yeah, no, I'm not a fan of Friends either. As far as popular sitcoms go, I think The Office is probably the only one I'm a fan of. I think that even though Parks and Rec and Community are also shows I really like, I don't think they were as popular as The Office, Big Bang Theory, How I Met Your Mother, Friends. But But yeah, those sitcoms, I don't think I was really that big of a fan of any of those except for The Office, which I have all 9 seasons of. If they made a region one of the British Office, believe me, I'd get it too. He was also in Castle, NCIS, Rizzoli, and Isles as a recurring character for 6 episodes. He was in an episode of The Middle, American Housewife, General Hospital, and 911. 911, I saw an episode or two. That show wasn't too bad. I should probably go out of my way to watch it. And of course, this is the weirdest role that he played. He played Logan 5 in the TV version of Logan's Run. Crazy how we're connecting all these things. As before, I mentioned John Galecki in Time, which was ripped off from Logan's Run. Logan's Run is a book and movie that I enjoy and have a DVD of, but apparently there was a TV show, Logan's Run, where this dude played the main character. In the original Logan's Run, it was Michael York, aka Basil from Austin Powers. Hello, Austin. What's crack-a-lackin'? Your life jewel is flashing, which means that you need to get to Sanctuary immediately. Or, just simple. Run, runner. Okay. So, so they backtrack, we have to find out, what's going on. What is the story behind these brothers? What could have led up to these family murders? And, so we find out that they were both adopted, Brian and Daniel, and they were basically supposed to be the perfect sons. If you've ever seen The Good Son, yeah. It's I don't know why, but these two parents just could not have their own child. So they want to have this perfect image of what what their family's supposed to be. So they adopted 2 sons almost immediately from one another. I don't think there was even a week difference between when Brian was adopted and then when Daniel was adopted afterwards. And of course, they had a clubhouse, they had 2 turtles that they shared. So let's talk about the parents. So the mom is played by Linda Kelsey, and she was in the 1973 iteration of The Picture of Dorian Gray, The Last of Mrs. Lincoln, Something for Joey, Captain King's Eleanor and Franklin, Rockford Files. I honestly haven't seen any of these things before. I'm going to be completely honest. I've read the book, Picture of Dorian Gray. I know there's a movie adaptation that stars Ben Barnes as Dorian. And I haven't seen that movie, but Ben did do the audiobook recording for Audible. So, it's Dorian Gray as Dorian Gray. Yeah, so I pretty much pretty much I don't know anything about what Linda Kelsey in, but John M. Jackson, what his career was a little bit easier to read through. He was in films such as Local Hero, Eve of Destruction, Career Opportunities. That's right, that movie with Jennifer Connelly. Where they did the song Space Age Love Song by Flock of Seagulls. I love that song. He was in A Few Good Men, Perfect World, The Gilmore Men, and Gifted. In television, he was in Blind Justice, Not My Kid, Probe, Baja, Oklahoma. He appeared in 1 episode of MacGyver. I do know MacGyver. Don't know if I saw that 1 episode. Or actually, I think I did. I think this is a season 2 episode, so it's probably the episode where MacGyver has a clip show with all of his friends attending a birthday party. And yeah, Jack Dalton's the best character. Let's be honest. Jack Dalton is the GOAT. He was in Parent Trap movie series. Not the original, not the Lindsay Lohan Parent Trap. It's some made for TV thing My mind's just. He was also in Roswell, Jag, From Earth to the Moon, Without a Trace, Brazilian Isles. Oh, wow, look at that. 2 actors from Brazilian Isles. And, of course, NCIS Los Angeles for 6 episodes. So, the mom, she's a school teacher. The dad, he's both a parishioner and an engineer. So, yeah, even though he's an engineer, he volunteers his time to the church, reading sermons as well as doing like Sunday school type of stuff. And yeah, things seem good at first, but we later find out that these 2 parents are kind of assholes, because it turns out that, yeah, they're constantly giving Daniel crap about random things that sometimes don't even seem to be his fault. And it gets to the point where like he's skipping school and getting in trouble, and it's almost as if he's trying to get in trouble just to get some kind of attention from them. But eventually backfires because eventually he's shipped off to reform school, and like they basically disown him. It's insane. And then later on they adopt Charlie as sort of a replacement, and they're not even open about it. It's like, oh, we wanted things to work out with Daniel, but they didn't, so we sent him away, but we got Charlie now and things are going to work out. And it's insane how like they think they could just adopt kids like it's a puppy and then just return it. By the way, you can't just return a puppy after adopting it, because that's insane. Same thing with kids. You can't just adopt kids only to return them if things don't work out. I'm sorry. If you have a kid, you got to follow through. It just like these parents are insanely horrible, and they try to make it out like they themselves are in the right. It's like, yeah, no, like it's not like the fault's with us, the fault's with the kids. And it's like we're just trying to be perfect parents, but they don't seem to reciprocate it by being perfect kids. And what's insane is, as soon as Daniel shipped off, the mother goes off on Brian. It's like, we're going to be strict on you. Why? What'd I do? You know what you did. What'd I do? You know what you did. What'd I do? You know what you did. And that makes my blood boil. Like seriously, it's like, it's really interesting is how like I watch these 2 films, Pump Up the Volume as well as Family Torn Apart, and these are things I saw as a 7-year-old, and like it didn't really cross my mind as much the severity of what they're doing. It's like, I know that what they're doing is what the parents are doing is wrong, but like it didn't really hit me just how wrong, like on a cognitive level, on a behavior level, like it's like, it's crazy how like I developed like such a comprehensive professional knowledge of the human mind and like child development, and like I appreciate that I know these things, because getting to know those things and then revisiting these movies 25 years later, I'm like, damn, like if like this stuff is making my blood boil more than it would have when I was 7. Like it would make my blood boil more than it would have when I was 17. And 17, it's like when you're a teenager, you're pretty angsty, but like damn, like way to revisit certain traumas. Now, I'm not saying my parents are jerks. They're not. I love my parents, but I'm just saying it's like I am more capable of putting myself in the shoes of Brian, Daniel, even Mark from the previous movie. And I'm like, God damn it. Like these poor kids. No wonder they're messed up. And like I do see stuff like that in real life, unfortunately. Like I'm not gonna disclose my professional life, but I do work with children, teenagers, and in some cases adults, and I actually do see some, and I have seen some pretty crazy things that like teenagers go through, and some of it does involve their parents. Sometimes the way a parent interacts with a kid, and also the way schools interact with kids, is insane. And it's like they go so hard. These parents go so hard on Brian that even when he goes to high school and tries to make friends, just keep in mind his best friend, his brother, not in the picture anymore. He only has himself and Charlie. And as soon as he goes to high school, he tries to make friends. This poor kid tries to make friends, goes to a friend's house, and what does the mom do? She calls the parent of the other friend. She overhears there's a girl. Even we don't even know how many girls there are. I mean, we know there's like probably 2 of them, but over the phone, you don't know how many girls there are. But the fact that there's even one girl, she's like, I want Brian back home right now. Why? Because there's a girl in the house. I can't have Brian in a house with a girl. Why? He's a teenager. He's supposed to be like intermingling with both male and female classmates. He's supposed to socialize. He's supposed to expand. What was he even doing in elementary and middle school? We pretty much time skipped to some degree. So like we don't know exactly what his school life was like before high school, but damn, his mom won't even let him visit friends' houses just because they think he's gonna end up like Daniel. And what exactly did Daniel end up like exactly? They never specified. We know he's skipping school. He's getting into fights, but have we considered why he's skipping school? Why he's getting into fights? Because like, how do we know that he started those fights? What if he's being bullied and he's just defending himself? How do we know? We don't know all the details. And the thing is, it's like from the 7-year-old perspective, I'm like, they're really painting out Daniel to be this really bad guy, and doesn't like hit me till like towards the end of the film that I don't like the parents. But here it's like I could tell right away, and not because I already saw the film, but because I am seeing the behaviors, the patterns, the cognitions, and it is insane what these parents are like. They put these expectations on their kids, don't even specify what those expectations are. So when the kids don't meet those expectations, the parents just abuse them. It's insane, man. They're like the teachers from Pump Up the Volume, except for the English teacher. She's actually pretty cool. And yeah, towards the end of the film, we find out that the reason why Brian never let the authorities know about the abuse that the Hannigans were committing was because because both Brian and Daniel have previously been in foster care, and they've been jumping from family to family. And every time when Brian would bring up that a family was being abusive towards him, they would immediately like jump him to the next family, and like basically like he wanted this one to last for some reason. You know, he didn't want to, well, as the film implies, he doesn't want the family to tear apart. But unfortunately, that's exactly what's happening. And, you know, like the parents don't want, like, see no blame in themselves, but they are to blame. And they act like so charitable towards like people at the church or like young adults in the military. But the thing is, it's like that charity means nothing if you can't show that kind of dignity and restitution to the people in your own home. Otherwise, you're just trying to deflect your own guilt by doing performative philanthropy, and it just bothers me when people do that. Yeah, unfortunately, Daniel, he keeps getting himself in trouble again. Plea for attention. While Brian, he develops a romantic interest in a girl who has a reputation. Now, for those of you who have been around the 90s, you know what the reputation actually means. We don't know if the reputation is true, by the way. But she just has a reputation. Scarlet letter and whatnot. But so They try to have a family dinner with Daniel back home, and it's like, hopefully this means they're gonna bring him back. But the thing is, they alienate him so much that Daniel never wants to see them again, and rightfully so. Like they treat like military recruits with more respect than their own son. Like they have dinner inside the house with one of these recruits, while Daniel's not even allowed back inside the house just to do the dishes, and he offers to do the dishes. That's the crazy part. So Brian goes on a date with this girl, I believe her name is Kate, and like they have this really nice moment. But as soon as he comes home, like the parents start grilling him. They start like, it's like, who are you with? Who are you with? Who is the girl? Who is she? Oh no, it's that girl. She is a WHORE. Like, I never want you to see her around you ever again. Blah 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 blah. And like, oh my God, man, it's like the over control. And here's the thing, though. Like, I've been on the victim end of this, not in Brian's position, but rather in Kate's position. And the thing is, it's like, I didn't even have a reputation, just to be clear. Like, I'm just myself, but I have dated people whose parents assume the worst of me. So I totally get where Kate might be coming from. But I also get where Brian's coming from, because it's like, you should be allowed to make certain mistakes, okay? It's not like they're doing drugs. It's not like they're drinking while underage. It's like they just went to a diner. Like, but like the parents, they go full physical on this guy. Like, and even like Charlie, who witnesses, it's like, so, and he even overhears the parents talking about the possibility of getting rid of Brian. And the thing is, well, Brian does contemplate running away, and even Daniel tells him, bro, just get out of there. It's better for your health. And he should have followed Daniel's advice. But the problem is, what's going to happen to Charlie? Because Charlie could be going through the same abuse that Brian and Daniel went through. Yeah, so all of this is being revealed progressively throughout the story, because in the actual story, you know, Tom is just trying to figure out what's going on, and there's like questions of, was Daniel the killer? Was Brian the killer? What did Charlie see? Because Charlie definitely saw something, but he's not 100% sure. And then there's new suspicion that maybe he didn't see Daniel. Maybe he saw Brian and thought it was Daniel. And because certain things are just not adding up. And then there's also the question of what if they were collaborating? What if they were working together to get rid of the parents? But as it turns out, yeah, the killer was Brian, and he did it by himself. First, he stabbed his mom in the basement. Then he stabbed his dad. But the mom was still alive, so she crawled out to the back porch where he took the axe to like finish her off. And that's when we have the scene where like he's like walking through the woods with the axe and like throws the axe away. And yeah, so all of this, he confesses to Tom, who takes him to prison the next day. And of course, he even asks, like, why didn't you tell anyone that your parents were abusive? Because like we went to church together, like sure, like it's bad enough that we didn't pick up on things, but we were like noticing red flags. Why didn't you say anything about this? It's like, because we didn't want to go back into the system. And what's crazy is the idea that for some people, they would rather be with abusive parents than be sent back to the system. I don't know anything about the system, to be clear, but how bad does the system have to be that you'd rather be with abusive parents? You know, that's what's crazy about this film. Thinking about those things. So we do get an epilogue. Brian goes to prison for 8 years. Daniel gets into trouble, also goes to prison, while Charlie is adopted by a new family and is given a good home. Good for Charlie. I like that at least Charlie got something good out of this. Um, Thoughts on this movie? Well, I think I pretty much already went through um the main plot of it. It's not a terrible film. It's pretty good. I can watch it a couple of times without getting sick of it. Of course, because it's a murder mystery, it's like how much mileage can I get out of it because I know it's gonna happen. There's like no shocking twist at the end, at least for me. But hey, as a kid, I was like, even though I was suspicious of Brian, I didn't want to believe it was Brian. So even though I figured out that Brian was the killer, I still felt surprised that, yeah, this is who killed them. And this is why, and more shockingly, this is why. Yeah, it turns out the parents were jerks. I'm not saying they deserve to be killed, but, but damn, call the Child Protective Services, because, man, it just unnerves me that there are parents like that. They exist. I've seen those parents. Like when I've seen them when I was a teenager, I've seen them when I was in my 20s, and even as an adult, I see them every now and then. And of course, I act appropriately to those situations, but it still bothers me that this actually exists. I have to say, I still stand by the fact that, by my opinion, that this is John Galecki's best performance in the film. He may not have been the main character, but he did a really great job in this film, and it does make me a little sad that like all other performances I've seen him do just do not meet this level. I don't know why, but it does hurt me a little bit that, damn, John Galecki was a great teen actor. He did a great job in his earlier works. What happened, man? Again, not a fan of Leonard. Not a fan of his character from In Time. David, I'm on the fence on David from Roseanne. Neil Patrick Harris, I'd have to say the opposite. Like his acting actually improves throughout his career, and yes, he even ends up playing the toy maker in Doctor Who, which is fantastic. This one, not his best performance, but it wasn't terrible either. I think just like the theme of this film is just very unnerving for me because it hits home very much. I give this movie an 8 out of 10. Like, you should definitely watch it at least once. Generally, I'm not a fan of true crime movies, but definitely check this one out, especially if you're a fan of Neil Patrick Harris and John Galecki, because, some people forget that they have done stuff before Big Bang Theory and How I Met Your Mother. As far as comments go, we only have one. Man, Neil Patrick Harris and Dave from Roseanne have such teen heartthrob baby faces. Yeah, they do. It's pretty funny. Well, if you enjoyed watching this, us discuss this film, which, by the way, I actually looked into this. This is probably the only channel that's discussing this movie, so we're the first. Hooray for reviewing obscure movies. Yeah, I mean, I hope that we at least introduce this movie enough for other people to check it out and maybe, make their own reviews of it, give their own opinions of it. We encourage dialogue here, and we wanted to hear what you guys have to say about it, whether it's on our channel or hear what other people have to say on their channels. But it just seems like this is the only channel that has any opinion on this movie. But let us know what you guys thought in the comments, even if you're not watching us while we're live. But we do have live chat, so definitely come for the live, stay for the permanent chat box comment section. Comment, like, and subscribe to us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Ding the bell icon to stay notified for our latest videos. We do movies every now and then. We usually do entire month clusters of films with little breaks in between. We've done The Crow 4 films, and yes, at some point we're gonna have to discuss the 5th one after it comes out in August. We've done the 4 Shrek movies, the 3 Naked Gun movies. We did Pump Up the Volume, and we did this movie. And if you're wondering what movie we're going to do next, well, this one is a Disney classic. At least I think it's a classic. I need to rewatch it. I still haven't rewatched it yet. It's been 25 years since I've seen even a slightest clip of this film. But this next film is the film that made me want to do this, a selection of films in the first place. And this film is the 1995 film Mr. Holland's Opus, starring Richard Dreyfuss as a music teacher. It's available on Disney Plus. I'm gonna rent it out from the public library because I like watching DVDs from the public library. It is what it is. And yeah, we're halfway through the month. And also check out our sister channel, The Buttery Show, where this is the sister channel, The Buttery Show. So our sister channel is the Morphin Network from this side looking in, where we do tokusatsu content. We do so many Morphin Network videos. So we keep saying our sister channel, The Buttery Show. So when we're on The Buttery Show, it's like it takes getting used to a little bit. But yeah, Morphin Network, where we discuss tokusatsu such as Ultraman, Kamen Rider, Super Sentai. We used to do Power Rangers, but not a lot of Power Ranger stuff coming out lately. We're going to try to figure out some new content for that. But we do Ultraman Arc on Mondays, Kamen Rider Godchart on Wednesdays, Bakuaga Sentai Boom Boom Draw on Thursdays, and Kamen Rider Fies on Sundays. So definitely check that out. If you want to say hi to us in person, you can find us at the Pasadena Convention Center on August 23rd to the 25th for Power Morphicon 2024. And if you want to find my personal content, you could find me on Instagram at Boken_Kabuto and on Twitch at twitch.tv/BokenKabuto. With all that said, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay hydrated, update emergency kits, hug your loved ones, and we'll see you guys next time. Have a good one. Bye.